Here we have the third video in the trauma series. Still in it, still experiencing a lot of trauma, but I'm doing a lot better. Why am I doing better? Well, because people are helping me a lot. People are helping me in, real practical, logistical ways, which is fantastic. But there's an essence even beyond that, like, the practical help. With that is coming actually very, very beautiful, loving support. That core humanity coming through people. So if it's coming through helping me doing something like moving some stuff to the new place I'm moving everything out of here to go into. But also, people are invoking light for me, saying prayers, sending positive vibes. And, I don't care what religion you are, whether you're an ascended master student or whatever, it doesn't matter. We're all spiritual beings. We're all beings with a heart, and every bit of energetic support we lend to one another helps, because it's all light, it's all love. It doesn't matter what you believe. That's one of the things that's been wiped away, obliterated, from this experience. You get this, what happens is just everything, the shock of just a whole shattering of reality. And I'm talking not just physical. I mean, that physical contains a lot to it, but it's way more to this than that. It's just this, what keeps playing through my mind is this, what's happening less, but, the sense of mortality. And it's not like a fear of death or anything. It's just that trauma experience from, that moment when the tree landed on the bus and the roof started caving in, and it sort of went in once and then it went in a second time, further dropped in. And, in that moment, I'm just waiting to die. I'm waiting to die. Or whatever, I'm waiting for what happens next. You can't just, I was paralyzed. You know how I used to think, if I had a car accident and, and it was just about to happen, I'd put up my arms and protect myself, or, you just think that you would have the ability to do something, and no, I don't know, you don't have, I didn't have time to do anything. Maybe, you'd think when I heard the crack of the tree falling, but I didn't know it was a tree or anything. Maybe the next time, maybe there won't be a next time, whatever. This is what I'm talking about. Your mind just goes nuts. Your mind just goes nuts from the sheer, impossibility and of all of this. So I did want to say thank you to the people who've been just sending me positive vibes, who've been decreeing and invoking light for me. It's helping me. It's getting me through while I've got a week to just do a lot of hard work, a lot of stuff, and I'm pacing myself through it, but it's still really hardcore and everything. But and I've asked people just to, give me some, some of their love and their energy support, and it's helping. And I just want to let you know too that once I'm, back and actually able to start, getting some semblance of normality, I do intend to take what I've learnt from this experience. I want to create some sort of a organisation where we can help people going through crisis. But I really want to say this, I've also had, a lot of people coming to me, and I know they're coming you're coming from a good place of, you see things that, I'm not seeing, and are trying to encourage me to go through, what's a normal psychological process. And I just want to say, this is not normal. Trauma psychology is not like regular sane psychology when you're in a space, when you're like looking back on past trauma. But when you're in it, it's literally like your psychological body is bruised. It's more than bruised. It's crushed. It's totally shattered. Now, this is not a bad thing or anything, but it is very disorienting. And see, even putting words to it is difficult. Like cognitive function, it just goes out the window. My mind, just will sort of, certain times works really, really well, but most of my mind has been put into just very, very jobs I got to do, putting them in order, prioritizing people I have to speak with and organize to come and help, and doing all of these logistics all the time, negotiating with, people for buying her, and making decisions. It's all very practical. And then, just having a bit left over for just managing myself, working, well, how am I going to survive today? It's just all about, how am I going to survive today? And, yesterday I woke up and it was like, well, I could see I've got a week of really intense work to do, and I'm not coping. I wasn't coping, flashbacks and so volatile. And I was able to I just thought, I need help, and I was able to just sort of make that decision and just call out and send out and see anyone, can you help me? Just by sending me love and light. That's all I need. And people have been doing that, and it is helping. It's helping. I didn't have a full sleep again, but it's better. I woke up early, but better than 2 a.m. in the morning. So that's an improvement. It's really good. So hang on, I just wrote a couple of notes, because see, you can't think. It's the cognitive function really goes out. So yeah, I just want to sort of, I do want to sort of express that, people, and I know people are coming from love, and they've seen some things, in my psychology, like, maybe some attachment to Bubbles, my bus, or attachment to the gypsy lifestyle, and maybe it's time for me to question all of that. And, yeah, it is. It is. But when somebody is in trauma, they've got to move through this step by step. And in fact, maybe we just have to learn to butt out of one another's affairs and wait until someone actually asks for, what can you see? I'm going to describe something in my psychology. Can you tell me what you see? And then give them advice, rather than just giving advice without it being asked for. And I'm not saying this, I'm saying this with compassion, because I know I've done the same thing. But I'm just going to very much speak, on behalf of what it's like when you're in trauma. You don't need someone else telling you, seeing where you should be going, what you should be achieving, where you should be at. We get there at our own pace. So some of the things I was talking about in my past video about being frightened of trees, and I was probably expressing a certain amount of attachment to Bubbles and everything. Already, I'm healing that thing with trees. But it's a very focused process. It's it's a very focused process in doing that. And but generally I'm much, much better already. I can walk amongst the trees, just not if it's windy or if they look dangerous, and I think anyone should be careful of, being around trees that have that just don't look sturdy. Yeah, they're not sturdy for a reason. And also, I'm actually sort of, I don't know for sure, but I feel like I'm not sure I want to return to the gypsy lifestyle. I don't know where my life's going to take me, but I'm just feeling like, yeah, there's a shift happening. And that's for me to discover. I don't need somebody else telling me that that's what I have to do or what I have to consider or I have to look at that identity. It's my process. I'll go through it, and you go through yours. And so back to specifically to do with the trauma process, and it probably translates wider, but I'm going to stick with the trauma process here. What happens is there's this constant restructuring of the mind. So your sense of reality, and that includes, like an inner reality as well, it gets obliterated, immediately gets obliterated. You just hit this, it's like ground zero. When the Twin Towers came down and there was nothing there, this ground zero, there is, the towers have come down, these Twin Towers, they come down. But I'm still on earth, I still have a physical body and I still have a mind that is designed to be here on earth. And so I do need to rebuild, a certain structure to be here. Without that, it'd just be chaos. We need a structure, just like we build a structure for children when they're growing up. We need a structure for ourselves in order to function. So I'm just in that process of just restructuring things, putting things back together. It's elemental, structure on an inner level and structure on an outer level, recreating and putting the life back together. It's a very, very slow process because in amongst that, there is this processing of grief. There is the dealing, surviving the flashbacks and what comes with that, the emotional fallout. And, sometimes I manage just fine. I can breathe through it and chant and whatever it is, just I can get through it. And other times it gets the better of me. And either or, it's all okay because, that energy has to come out. We can't keep that energy in because that's just going to create long-term future psychological issues. So I'd rather sort of work through it now than bottle it in and try to sort of, put myself back into a box of this perfect spiritual student. I'd rather just be broken right now and be okay with that and know that, this is natural. It's natural and normal. And so if anything, if you've been experiencing any of, your own reawakening or, current trauma, whatever it might be, and that's grief, harm, something that's injury that's happened to your body, loss of your security, just whatever it might be, lost your pet, it doesn't matter. Just be gentle with yourself and honour yourself if you want. I don't want to tell you what to do. But that's what I'm doing. I'm just being gentle and I'm really honouring every part of this process. And observing. And I'm observing myself and what's going on and how I'm doing it. And I'm really happy with some things, like I used to sort of shut my mouth and not stand up for myself. Like some might say, oh, that's not true, but it is true. I'd often sort of be kind of comply with people's, I don't know, with the status quo of, the spiritual community that I'm a part of. It's all in my mind. It's all in other people's minds too. But I'm now just sort of standing up for myself and setting the boundaries where they need to be set I'm okay with it, and I feel like I'm doing it with compassion, and because, yeah, some of the faux pas that people have made, like, I've made them too, so, it's all right, I understand. But I'm seeing through it now, and, I'm not going to have it, so. All right, that's trauma 3 video. Okay, time for some chai, and then I'll get on with the day. Bye-bye.